and good evening, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody. We are Friday Night Rights. Myself, Brian Scala, Samantha Moran, and Evie Black is absent this week. We wish her well. And our special guest is the award winning, international award winning, multi genre author, Caytlyn Brooke. Caitlin, thank you for making it to Discord.
Course. Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem.
Well, you are now how many time award winning author? Because they're starting to rack up a little bit.
This one does make my 11th award.
Wow.
Man, she's got more awards than books.
Yeah, I do.
I think I'm one
That's
for five or one for four in awards. I do have my one little measly award.
Hey, it's not measly, it's an award.
Ooh,
No,
awesome.
I'm 3 for 6, so I'm with you, Brian. But
Nice.
Caitlin is amazing. And I met Caitlin way back before Twitter was a dumpster fire for me.
Mm,
It's
yes.
kind of doing its own thing now. But she's a really awesome human being. I'm really glad that you're here on Friday Night Rights. I might be a fan of Caitlin's works as well. I still have books that I need to
Mhm.
buy. I'm a few short. But she's awesome. And we're going to be rehoming one of Caitlin's books tonight, Wired, which is a sci fi novel, which is really
Yeah.
cool. It's one of your earlier works, too, right?
Yes, it's my second book. It came out in 2018, and it's been a little bit harder to kind of find readers for this one, just because with the content, like it definitely forces readers to be a little bit more introspective, whereas like looking at their own social media and phone use. So it's not always easy to do that sort of reflection, but it's a really interesting look at where we're headed. It's slightly in the future, 2031. So from everybody that I've heard who has read it, they say that it reads more like nonfiction, and they say that it was pretty much like a wake up call because
Mm-hmm.
we get so into the little worlds that we curate on our screens, and we miss a lot of stuff that's just happening right in front of our eyes. So it's just a nice little nudge just to be more mindful, I guess.
So
I
much stuff. And it's getting worse and worse with the prevalence of social media as well. So it's probably not quite as dystopian as you originally imagined it
uh,
to be.
Right.
It
I
is coincidentally the last one that I need to read of your published works, and I'm really excited because it's on my TBR. I was going to pick it up from you if we have a sighting in common, so that's pretty cool. And Caitlin and I have actually worked together on a couple of her books, which is super fun because I got to see the way her mind works up close and personal, and we're going to share that with you tonight as well. So be sure to share this with anybody who might be interested in Caitlin's interview tonight. And again, this will go up on YouTube because we want as many eyes on Caitlin as possible. I did drop the link to her website in the chat already. That would be caitlynbrooke.wixsite.com/books by Caitlin. And so make sure you go there as well. There's lots of really cool things in there, including a flaming GIF for Among the Burning that I might be just a little bit jealous of. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's
my
really
friend my friend Brad, he like for all of my books that come out, he goes to her name is Morgan Wright, and she animates all of these covers, and as like a gift for me, he sends all of them to her, and she does phenomenal work, and it's really really cool.
that is really, really cool. I went on there and I was like, oh, so pretty.
I saw it, I was just like, oh.
And I will be doing the spinning wheel of awesomeness tonight. And since Caitlin's probably the works that I'm going to guess that she's proudest of so far would be Among the Hunted and Among the Burning, because she's
Yeah.
showing everybody that SA survivors do belong in fantasy and their stories do deserve to be told because they do. And since that is the case, Brian has aptly chosen the fire emoji tonight to be entered into the giveaway. So we're going to do that an early drop now if you want to drop a fire emoji in there. And remember that we reward you for sticking around. So the more we ask you to put it in there, the more chances you have to win because we want you to stay and hear what Caitlin has to say. Okay, so go ahead and drop
yes.
those fire emojis. And then Brian's going to get us started.
Yeah, I don't think we did our proper introduction though about ourselves.
Not
No,
yet.
not yet. Okay. Well, I'll be brief because it's not about me. I'm Brian Scala. I write Sports Spice and Second Chances. I have one measly award compared to Caitlyn's, what, 11? No, that's okay. But I recently released Core Memories, which is my spiciest book to date. My nice second chance romance with Bryce and Aaron. So if you're like spicy friends with benefits with a side of trauma and a sweet glass of love to wash it all down, that is the book for you. That is this one. This is the one that got me the 2025 Reader Ready Recommended Read Award. This is Eddie the Legend. We're talking baseball, broken dreams, found family, and I love to fix it all. This is subsequently the one that was a finalist for 3 other awards. Um, I said this, it's like hard to choose between your children, but if I had to, you know, I would probably choose this one slightly over Core Memories and slightly over Being Made, which is my first book. And you spoke about books that read like nonfiction. This is a fictitious memoir, so kind of all along the same lines about the rise and fall of a rock star and a basketball player, how they both lived a life and fell from grace. And when they met, they realized that coming from 2 different worlds, they were living the same life, basically, and both simultaneously found out what life was all about. It's about making it, it's about finding the right people and not being superstars. So that's me. And of course, we have Samantha Moran.
Let me have these up here and I'll do them super fast, okay? Because I do this every day, all day long. Okay, Dealings in the Dark, Witches, Demons, Hellhounds, A Deal Gone Wrong, and 48 Hours to Save Your Soul, a 2-time award-winning novella in Book 1 in the Cursed Soul series. Book 2 is Schizophrenia versus Demonic Possession, Bound and Betrayed. This is Without You, which is very much like the TV show The Ghost Whisperer, love, loss, and life after someone is gone. This is Wicked Little Rabbit. This is Spooky Spicy Alice in Wonderland reimagining. Please check your triggers. They are as long as my forearm, and your health is more important than my sales. The Ruin. This is an award-winning medical thriller and urban fantasy about a woman who's trying to save her mother. It's my favorite book that I've ever written and gets read the least. So if you want to start somewhere and you're not upset about crying, this is a good one to start with. And then Apothecary of Curiosities is coming out at the end of March. There's 2 versions, standard paperback and the signing exclusive foil edition. 6 cozy horror short stories about the Grim Reaper who likes to cause chaos because who's going to tell Death that she can't? So that's me. I do have 2 audiobooks on Audible as well, narrated by the amazing Paige Reisenfeld. But again, I'm not trying to take up all this time either. And then we want to hear about Caitlyn's books too, because she has a plethora of books. I have 3 of them. I need more of them.
Would you
But
say
tell
you
us
have
about
a
you. Yeah, because you have books in every genre.
I do, yeah. I cannot pick a lane. It's
That's
really hard.
what the part I admire the most about you is that you are capable of writing just about anything.
Oh, cute. Yeah, I that was one of the reasons why I left my publisher because they only wanted me to write horror. Like that was it.
Oh,
And they told me I was terrible at fantasy. I was never going to be able to make it as a romance author, and I shouldn't even bother trying. So those were where I started. Yes, right there. Um, and I've absolutely loved it. I've jumped in with 2 feet into the romance genre, doing spicy romance as well as more like contemporary, kind of like rom com.
right.
And it's just so much fun. I absolutely love it. I love making sassy and believable characters. And it's a great time and I love me some spice. So that's just super fun to sit down and write. And it like I crank them
Oh, it
out.
is.
Like it's so
You
fast.
do.
Yes.
And you have such unique ideas. That's what really makes a Caitlyn Brooke book amazing, is that it's not like something that I've ever picked up anywhere else and read. So for them to say you had to only write horror, I am ashamed that they are a Michigan-based publisher as well. Boo.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and you are proving them wrong every day. So that is super awesome. And I know I admire you greatly for that. But for them to say you can't write romance, please, please.
Those
You
2,
got Naughty
especially
Gingerbread Man.
the baker's wife.
That's right.
Orchard.
You know,
I actually it's with my editor right now. I have Baker's Wife 2. It's called
oh,
A Widow's Wish.
nice.
And it is double the manuscript. So everybody said, I loved this, but I need more. So I gave more. There are now 2 gingerbread men, and it is Wild.
Is it safe to say
Is
it's
her
a
name
Why
still Emma?
Choose gingerbread
Yes.
story?
Oh,
It's Why
oh,
Choose Gingerbread with Brothers.
Oh,
sounds spicy.
I,
As
I,
in
Oh,
like nutmeg.
I have something
yeah.
to look forward to this holiday season, next holiday season.
I was trying
No,
to think of another like cool name because with Sin, like cinnamon, so his brother is Chris, and it's off of Crisco.
Oh, I was thinking Chris
I
Kringle,
am
but
I'm
that works
impressed.
too.
Yeah.
I am
I'm
impressed.
I'm super excited for that one. I unfortunately did have to give my other book. It's a gothic horror, um, and it's a like historical fiction from the Scottish witch persecutions, and it's two sisters. I am obsessed with this book. I think it is the best thing I've ever written. I really looked at a lot of British authors and UK authors, and just really studied their prose and tried to like change like my style a little bit and just really, really pushed myself with this book. And I absolutely love it. And sadly, I had to submit it to my publisher to fulfill that contract. I am praying that they just reject it because I did put lesbian lovers in there and I tried to
Just
because
so
they only
happens
wanted
to.
they told me we only want straight romance. Do not
Hmm.
put anything else. They wanted no sex, no like no other sort of love. And I said, okay.
Yeah. Now,
Sure,
do
you
you
got
fulfill
it.
your term? Yeah.
What you said?
Do you fulfill your terms just by offering it to them?
Yes.
Ah,
So I
kick it
am
back.
I am praying that that they just forget it. And I sent it in like right after Christmas. So I have to wait like 12 weeks to hear back from them. But I am so oh, it was so much fun writing this book because I went to Scotland last year and I was so inspired hearing the stories. And I actually contacted there's this great it's a two female band and it's called Heel and Harrow, and they actually took letters from the Scottish witch trials and turned them into lyrics. So using that, I reached out to them. I got permission. I said, "Hey, like I'm writing a book about this. Do you guys mind if I use like your lyrics as like scenes?" And they're like, "Oh my God, yes." They were so sweet about it. And one of the songs, I encourage you to look it up. It's called Will the Devil Help Me Now? And that's the title of the book. And
Love that.
Ooh.
it's, I'm super excited for this book. So that one's with them. Hopefully they're going to reject it and I can just self-publish it. And then I'm working on another contemporary romance. It's a football romance.
Ooh.
So sorry, Brian, don't mean to come for your genre.
No, you're good.
But I'm basing it off of I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan, so
Nice.
I'm basing it off of the Buffalo Bills.
Uh,
Nice.
Yeah.
I hope they win the big one, unlike the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so sad. I can't even talk about
I
it.
Oh
know.
man. Well, you're speaking my language with the Scottish Gothic horror there. Like, I'm super excited to read this one. So hopefully they kick it back and then I get to read it early.
I am hoping I'm crossing every part of my body.
I'm so excited about this, though. That's awesome. That is absolutely amazing. Now,
Thank you.
we have lots and lots and lots of questions lined up because we have just like a ridiculous number of things that we want to know about you.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of go back and forth a little bit tonight. And Brian's going to start us off learning a little bit more about you outside of just who you are as an author first.
Right. Like I said, yeah, like Sam said, we have questions, but I have a feeling this is going to be a fun conversation, regardless. You know. So.
Anything with Caitlyn's always fun.
Oh,
Like she
absolutely.
brings fun into the room.
And yeah.
So,
So yeah, before we get into your books, we want to know a little bit about you. So let's tell us, who is Caytlyn Brooke? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, right now I am a stay-at-home mom and I am homeschooling my two kids. We are having a blast, absolute blast with it. And I I never ever thought I would homeschool, but here we are, and we're just having an absolute great time. I am very, very, very excited to be able to write, when I want to. I don't have like a set time. I'm very envious of people who are able to do that and sit, from 8 to 5 and just write and crank out stories. I'm lucky if I get an hour and a half a day. So
I understand.
yeah. I am a huge cat lover. I
Oh,
live in the southern tier of New York. We just bought a camper, so my husband is absolutely thrilled. He actually goes and visits it on his lunch break and just sits there with the
in the
camper.
camper, like an airstream or something like that. Yeah.
It's a Coleman lantern, so it's not an Airstream. But it's super cute. It's 24 feet long,
Oh,
and we can't wait. We have our first camping trip planned for my birthday at the end of April,
Woo!
so
nice.
we can't wait.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I'm envious of the camper. With all the driving I do for signings and stuff, I'm like, man, I could save so much money on hotels.
You can write it off because it's
I
part of the
know,
business expense.
right? I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. That's amazing.
Just
And
tell
Caitlin,
John.
you're living the dream. So that's
Yes,
awesome.
need a camper.
Now, did you always want to be an author, like since you were a little kid, or did you have like a varying career path that led to being an author? Like, how did you get here?
I have wanted to be an author since I was 9. So I have been working very hard to make this a reality. I did go to school for psychology, and for a little bit, I was going to be a social worker. And then I saw just the demands in grad school, the amount of unpaid like internships I would have to do, like 100 hours a semester. Like it was a lot. And it was just I couldn't afford to do it. Like was what it boiled down to. And when I was like really looking at it, it's a very hard field, and I give all social workers just so much credit because just the stuff that they have to see and deal with. But I decided it wasn't for me, and then luckily enough, Dan, my husband, he was fine with me, I moved into like finance, and I was a loan officer for a little while, and I was a waitress for a while, but I would always be writing. I always had like my little like receipt paper I'd print it out, and I like in between tables I'd be writing story ideas, and it was just so fun. Like I have never stopped writing. It took absolutely forever to come up with a solid enough idea that I wasn't bored with after like 20 pages.
Yeah.
So that took a little while, but now like I was just telling Dan, I was like I can't get over like this football romance that I'm doing. Like I sit down and I just cuz I'm a total pantser. So it's just flowing. It's really nice.
That is so exciting. I love seeing how much you love like your interest and your passion, you know? And a lot of the times I find that a lot of people don't plan to be authors. Life just sort of pushes them in that direction. Because when we were little, because we're about the same age, when we were little,
Yeah.
we were told we had to do something productive for society and make a ton of money. And there were certain expectations for that. And so it
Yes.
was like grow up, get good grades, go to college, graduate, get a house, have a fence, 2.5 kids, and 2 cars, and that's going to be your life and everything's going to be fine. And
Yeah.
then everything went and the plan is
Yeah.
gone. And they're like, well, why don't you have it together? And I'm like, excuse me, we were not prepared for that.
They still
Try
tell
it.
they still tell me, I'm in my late 40s, and I still, you have to, make enough to pay the mortgage and the bills and the cable and this and that. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
for most people, like myself, writing is just something. I mean, it's something I've always done, but it wasn't until later on when I was like, hey, maybe I could do something with this. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you actually knew, uh, very early on. This is you had a goal when you were 9 years old, and you wanted to be a writer, and
Hmm.
here you are, just living the dream.
With
Trying.
11 awards, 11, okay, more awards than books. I'm just saying, like, that's impressive as hell, Caitlin. And I am so envious. but like in a good way. Do you know what I mean? I'm so proud of you.
Absolutely.
That
Thank
is so cool.
you.
That is so
It's
cool.
really exciting. The mainly like the most fun that I've had, because Among the Hunted won from this same organization. It won for Best Urban Fantasy last year, and I got to go to the gala, and it was absolutely amazing. And this year, I am just shocked that Among the Burning now won for Epic Fantasy, and my son and I, we went out and we were hitting up like this little consignment shop, and they have like these prom dresses in the back. And my son, who's 9 now, so it's like a nice little like poetic kind of justice, I guess, where he was so excited to help me choose the dress, and he was giving me all these like pointers. And, well, mom, I don't know if that quite matches the cover. And like, it
I
was
love
so
it.
nice. It's like this great memory now. So it's so much more than an award. It's really exciting.
I'd say
She made a core memory, Brian.
what's that? Yes, exactly. Core memories, and I have to say, like everything, you do, every place you go, you just take it to the next level, and that's
It does.
and that's just, I admire that. It's like you when you walk into a room, it just automatically, like, it just gets that much better.
Gas pedal.
Oh, yes.
Caitlyn, actually, being the lovable person that she is also our resident troublemaker, just a little bit, right?
Oh,
As in, like, she has so much energy in life that she just gets into mischief sometimes and does all
Right.
sorts of things.
we may or may not be talking about a certain club that we went to in Virginia.
Allegedly, a drag show. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It was
So
allegedly
much
awesome.
Allegedly fun.
I loved it.
Allegedly. Too much gas pedal. No,
Oh my god.
gas pedal over and over, and they just kept saying gas pedal, and we were
20
dancing. And it was
times.
like, too much gas pedal. We're going so fast.
We've crashed.
I made a core memory that night. That was very fun.
Oh, same.
But Caitlyn, she has this like personality, like you can tell she has this infectiously happy personality, and I know that you've been through some things and you talk about that openly on your platforms, and like for you to have come out of that on the other side with this positive life outlook and like just uplifting spirit, like I really, really do admire that. It's awesome.
Thank you. It's
Now,
like the saying, like if I don't laugh, then I cry. So gotta keep laughing.
I cry all the time. Dark humor for the win too. Anyway,
That's right.
So I'm going to kind of divert really quickly because I have a question for you. So which one of your books was the first one you published? Because you said you wanted to start writing when you were 9. So
Yes.
that's a long time.
Yes. Among the Hunted was actually the first one that I finished, but I wasn't happy where it was. There was still so much that I wanted to incorporate into it. And I was just, it literally took me 12 years to mold that one to exactly what I wanted to say. So Dark Flowers was actually the first book that I published. And that one was so much fun. My sister and I, when we were little, we would look for fairies in the woods by our house. And I kind of twisted that, and I was like, well, what if we did find fairies, but we didn't like what we found, and turned them into very sinister beings?
Yeah,
that was definitely one of the first ones that I read from you too.
Yeah. Yep, that one came out in 2016. It was a lot of fun. It was the first book that made like people in like my real life question me, and they're like, "Who are you?"
Don't you love it when they question you? It's like my wife tells people at work, or that they come to her at work and like, well, your husband writes some spicy romance. What is that all about?
That's awesome though. Like who better, especially like more men need to start reading smut. Like because like it's not just, doing the deed. It's you really like these men in these books are so emotionally aware, and as a society and a culture, we need that. We
Yes.
need more men to connect. And it's crazy when people like say such horrendous things and they have no idea, because couples who read Spice together are so much closer and connect on such a deep level. Like, you have to be vulnerable, like with your other person. So it helps that communication, it strengthens the marriage, and
Mm-hmm.
you have while you're doing it.
Oh, John and
Yeah.
I read Spice together all the time. My husband, Jay Silverton. We are currently reading Sweet Berries by C.M. Niskasta, I believe. She wrote Morning Glory Milking Farm, which, by the way, if you haven't read, is like Hallmark Minotaur porn. And it's delicious and it's funny. It's great. And then we finished that one. Now we're reading Mothman porn. And I
Oh,
absolutely adore it. We read it together at night. Like he reads to me, I read to him, and we talk about it and we have a lot of fun. Like
see?
it's important to not be intimidated by fictional characters for one thing, which I think comes up a
Right.
lot with the men who are not totally on board with romance. But it's
Yes.
also a really good way to just be like, oh, my wife likes what? Okay,
Mm.
inside and outside of the bedroom.
Yeah.
It's
And
marriage research.
yeah, and
Yes.
definitely, I agree. I was talking with Clint Baker last week, and he admires the fact that I've started writing. That I'm uh, a male author who wants to write spice, and it's like, I
Yes.
mean, it's everybody has feelings, whether regardless of gender or expression or whatever. It's
Hmm.
that's what I believe, and everybody wants wants what they want and they love what they love, and I don't think it matters who the gender is of the author.
Right.
Right.
And when, with your romance too, you play with it and it's a little bit funny and you show that stereotypical male gaze, but then you also show the female part that's not always recommended and he becomes a little bit more adaptable as the book goes on. And that's important too. So, like, the romance genre is the best selling genre in literature.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
it's really, really important to pay attention to it. And it's not something that's over here trying to corrupt people. And I wish more people knew that. We'll get into talking about that in a minute because I know that, in particular, the baker's wife has drawn some attention that it should not have drawn. And that's going to come up in a little bit because, some people
Insane.
Oh
are people in awfully hard. Um,
Hmm.
but this journey of being an author and all of these things that we do to like create these books and market these books and everything, it takes such a huge chunk of our lives and it's so meaningful to us. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about being a reader, like read whatever genre you want, listen to it, read it on paper, get an ebook, don't pirate books, that's not cool. But like just read, just read in
Right.
general, right? And as authors, we are readers as well. We have to be, right? Because
Hmm.
otherwise, we wouldn't get any better at our craft. We wouldn't be exposed
Right.
to more things. So, reading widely is also very important, especially for a 11-time award-winning multi-genre author. Okay, I'm just gonna keep doing that because Caitlin is amazing. Um, but that can't be all that we do with our lives either. So, kind of going back to like who you are as a person and like redirecting to Caitlyn Brooke, right? Do you have hobbies outside of these insane numbers of books that you're cranking out? Like, what do you do?
Sadly, not a lot. I love word searches, and I for Christmas I asked for a giant word search book, and
nice.
it's like I love it. It's like I can just sit. There's no other thoughts, and it's just my zen time. And I just sit there. I do my word search. Sometimes I'll do Sudoku. I have gotten very good at that. Um, I also just recently tried diamond art. We
Oh.
do a lot of like the library events, and they had one, and I made this really cute like tea mug with diamond
Nice.
art on it. And that was super fun. I also love like board games, like playing with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
We do we do a lot of imaginary play, which is a little exhausting at times. But it's so much fun. We do a lot of like reading aloud, a lot of painting. I absolutely love going to like paint and sips.
Mm-hmm.
My
Me
friend
too.
Jess, yeah,
Mm.
she runs one. Usually they're like once a month, and it's so much fun because not only like does she like go through how to like do the painting, but we also do trivia. I am a huge trivia fan. I
Oh
am
yeah.
smacking that button.
I
I
would love
get
to be on your
very
trivia team. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and
I go so
if you need
hardcore.
the sports category, I'm your man.
Yeah. I'll
See,
just do like
that's
nerdy things.
impressive.
Yeah. I can do sports. I'll
Yeah,
just do like nerdy things, obscure anime things. Like, I don't
Yeah.
there you go.
And my wife and I started. She likes to do her crossword puzzles. When we're sitting after dinner, just relaxing, and she'll just blurt out just the description. And I'll be like that, the, the you know.
know. Yeah, the things that you have stored up in your brain that just have no use anywhere else come out at trivia nights,
Exactly.
and it's the best thing ever because you're like, I knew I hold on to that for a reason. I knew I needed to know that.
I used to play Trivial
Go way
Pursuit
back
growing up.
there. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's so much fun. I love living where I am because I'm right at the bottom of like the Finger Lakes
Yep.
in New York, and they have these beautiful like hiking trails and gorges. So we've been doing a lot of hiking now that the kids are older and we trust them not to just topple off into the ravine. So
Yeah.
that's been
That's
really
fun.
fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. So I love that. I love wine. I love like wine tastings and just going up and playing. They always have these. We just went to it was Nordic night at one of the
Oh,
wineries
Nice.
up here, and I I was lame. I was like my family was the only one that wasn't dressed up, but everybody else had amazing like Viking outfits on, and they played really cool music, and they had this big old bonfire, and I love getting out and trying new things. It's so much fun.
See, I told you, infectious and exciting and just bubbly and happy all the time. That is Caitlin Brooke.
there
But do
exactly.
you, any of your characters have the same hobbies and interests as you in your books?
That's a good question. That I'll put like a few like Easter eggs in there. Like in Wired, Maggie is the main character, and there'll be like just a couple things that like if like my sister read, she's like, oh no, I know that. Like that's Kate. I also like I really identified with Jeslum in Among the Hunted. So that you can see a little bit of my personality in her. Just that really protective kind of, you know, let me at him type thing, like when something, push comes to shove. Uh right now I'm with the sports romance that I'm writing. I'm giving her, she's got the same colored glasses that I have. She likes word searches, so
Nice.
little things.
We do put little bits and pieces of ourselves in our characters without even realizing it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's what makes
It's
them
just
believable.
natural.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what makes them real people, is those little things.
Yeah.
That's why I like to find out kind of what your interests are and what your characters share with you because it's so easy to pour your heart and soul into a book. It's so easy. And I find a
Mhm.
lot of the people that we see in books are representations or amalgams of different people in our lives or people that we wish were in our lives or people that we are or wish we could be or have been. So like
Mhm.
there's always something in there.
Yes.
A lot of what we do also is not just for us. It's for giving back to whether it's the community or to charity or some other organization. Like every month I try to pick a charity organization to donate my royalties to, whether it's for United Way or the Human Rights Campaign or I was actually last year when the tornadoes hit Michigan. It was United Way of South
Mhm.
Central Michigan. Do you have any specific organizations that you support in that way? Something near and dear to you.
Absolutely. I donated $114 to RAIN.
Ah,
It's the sexual assault survivors organization. So I try to donate to them every year. I'm also a big advocate for the ASPCA. I donated $100 down to the Tampa ASPCA down during the hurricanes that hit Florida this past year. And then I also go on my local Facebook group and just in my community. I recently donated to a gentleman and a family who had sadly, he just needed help with cancer and, you know, the chemotherapy. So I was donating to him, just trying to help in my local community and just try to strengthen everybody around me. So, but those two organizations are very dear to my heart. I've also donated to Catholic charities for domestic violence survivors. So definitely always looking to give back and just trying to help, even like the little increments that I can.
Right. Every little bit counts, and that's awesome that you're willing and able to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's so nice too because now that my kids are older, we go to the ASPCA here all the time. And we actually have my kids made me put on the calendar. We're going this coming Thursday, and they're too little to handle the dogs, but we just go in the back and we're there for 2 hours just playing with the cats. I was helping her clean out the cages last time. I went to Bath and Body Works and I got them a whole bunch of hand sanitizer because you have to
Nice.
sanitize between every cat. So I got her a whole bunch that smell really good. So she commented on mine one of the times we went. So I'm super excited just to give something as small as that. And it's been great because I'm trying to teach my children, like, if you don't have money, like, but you have time, like, donate your time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to show them, you can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been wonderful. And now all they keep talking about is adopting cats, and I have a big fat orange tabby who refuses to share. So I say, I'm so
Oh.
sorry, I can't take any more cats. I would love to,
Yeah,
but
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
We have two cats now, and every time my wife goes on the Facebook group for the local shelter, she's like, "Oh, look at Jimmy and Gina here. Don't you guys want brothers and sisters?" Like, no.
no.
Yeah, I unfortunately my cat passed away over the summer. She had epilepsy, and I had her for 13 years, and her epilepsy finally did her in, But like I love cats, but I just can't have another one yet. And so someday
Yeah.
when I find that right one, it's going to be so important. But I like to get animals from shelters and from like
Yeah.
little small adoption things, not like puppy mills and stuff. So it's really nice to hear that you guys support the ASPCA, and like those animals need people. It's wonderful. And you
Yeah.
take on a lot of these things in your books as well, these topics that are important to you. You have books that are specifically about SA, you have books that are specifically about domestic violence and abusive relationships. You have books about abandonment issues and books about, people who don't believe in you and what you can achieve in your life. Like these are all very real topics. So if you're looking for something like that, you will find them in Caitlyn Brooke's books. Even the ones that are more lighthearted and fluffy, like Crimson Crisp, still tackles like some significant issues, especially the way people look at women. That's something that I think I've found in every single book that I've read by Caitlyn, because
Yeah.
it is very, very hard to exist as a woman in the world who's trying to advance themselves in society and prove their worth, which is unfortunate that we even have to.
Yeah.
And I know that's something that you've spoken about as an author that has come up at your signings, in particular, the way that people treat you differently because you are a woman,
Oh my
and
God.
particularly a female horror writer as well, which is something that I've also
Yes.
encountered. So fun. Um, you want to tell us a little bit about that? What's that like?
The main thing is just the mansplaining and just the condescending attitudes that I have encountered at nearly every single show from male authors. And it's insane. Like if I tell them, oh yeah, I'm doing really well today, they're like, oh yeah, well I'd sell out too if I looked like you. And like, okay, it's mainly women who are buying my books. Like it has nothing to do with attraction. Like
Mm-hmm.
it drives me insane that they reduce our talent and skill down to simple looks. Like
Reeks of jealousy.
it is unbelievable. It's
It is.
unbelievable. And it drives me crazy. And then there's these guys, like, and I've had to call security several times, unfortunately, where these men, they won't leave my table and they just stand there and they're like leaning on it, they're shuffling the books around. So it's again, it's demeaning and it's
Yeah.
showing like it like the complete lack of respect. Like, I spend a lot of time putting my table out, arranging my books. I don't need you coming over here and messing them up and blocking my table. And then
Yeah.
sit there and they don't even ask me about my writing or about my books. All they do is talk about themselves and how
Mhm.
great they are and what they're working on. And one of these guys, oh my goodness, and I've known him for years. I recently went to AuthorCon with him down in Virginia last year, and he had nothing nice to say about romance authors. And I was literally like, my tongue was like bleeding. I was biting it so hard. I'm stuck in a car with this guy for 9 hours. Like, it was so beyond frustrating, saying like he just denounced like romance authors as just trash, as cranking out trash, and we were the reason why his book wasn't getting popular. And I was blown away. Like, I couldn't even fathom a response. I was
That's
just
crazy.
like, romance authors work just as hard as you do. Like, it's really hard to write convincing romance, really good dialogue. You still have to have every single element of any other genre. You still have to have character development, really good like plot. You have to flesh out your scenes. You have to have like the character development. It just I was getting so angry. Like,
Yeah,
That is
it was
intense.
driving me
the
nuts.
people who are threatened, I mean, well, they seem like they're jealous and maybe they're just insecure with their own work.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, Brian. And he was going off and he was saying, "Oh, well, I'm gonna write." He was invited to do like an Amish horror romance story collection, and I was like, "Okay, go for it." And he was like, "Yeah, that's probably gonna really kick up my sales." And I was like, dude, like, I don't know what to tell you. And he just kept like making fun of me because I was self choosing to self publish instead of going through the traditional route. Like, dude, I tried it. I didn't like it. I don't want to do it. Like, I love self publishing. There's
That's
no
intense.
reason to talk
Yeah.
down to me.
No, that's intense. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
I've had a similar experience several times. I've actually been turned down for horror specific events because I am a woman. That is very, very upsetting. I have a lot of people who come to me and they're like, "You write horror?" And I'm like, "Last time I checked, yeah."
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
Like, there
Hey,
was one guy who came to a show and he was like, I walked up to a table. I was splitting a table with Sarah Furlong-Burr, who you probably met also at Simple Signings the year that we were there. Lovely woman, who does like sweet romance and
Uh-huh.
tech issues. I'm going to borrow you in a minute. Anyway, who does sweet romance. And he came up to the table and I was like, "Hi, do you like to read?" And the guy goes, "Not this stuff." And I was like, "Be nice, be
Well,
nice, be nice, be
okay.
nice, be nice, be nice." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I'm a college graduate." And I went, "Yeah, me too. I graduated with honors with an English degree. I'm not sure what kind of stuff you read, but thanks for letting me know what kind of person you are."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marissa here in the comments was with us that day. But the attitude specifically towards romance authors or female authors can be very, very intense. I'm having a little bit of tech issues. I can't get my screen to work right, so I'm going to let Brian ask us the next question really quickly. I
Sure.
apologize.
Yeah. Now, just really quickly, I just want to mention that you mentioned the stigma with self publishing. And it's I
Mhm.
actually had a review of Eddie the Legend that a negative review that implied that that you could that this book was obviously self published because quote unquote no uh, self respecting publisher traditional publisher would touch this, and I just think that's such an archaic uh, way of thinking about it. And this person obviously was, in my opinion, was not a reader. And I just,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I do share, just a smidge of what you're going through out here. Um, but getting to something a little bit more lighthearted. We've talked about, things that we're passionate about. Like charities and organizations, things like that. What are some of your favorite things in general? Like favorite food, favorite season, favorite candies. Like let's just you know, something along those lines.
Sure. I absolutely love fried dough. But I guess I'm very weird, and a lot of people eat it with like powdered sugar and cinnamon.
Zuppoli.
Cinnamon sugar. I eat it with marinara sauce.
Oh, okay.
It's delicious.
It's
And
pizza without the
um,
cheese. Okay.
yes. And I grew up in Connecticut, and that's just how they serve it there. And I live in New York now, and went to like the county fair, and I said, "Oh, and can I have that with marinara?" And he goes, "What?"
Wow.
Like I committed the most egregious of sins. I was like, "I'm sorry." He's like, you can go get marinara sauce over there." And it was like at the pizza truck, and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. That's
So
interesting.
I
Yeah.
love Yeah, I love fried dough. It's absolutely delicious. Also baked potatoes,
Mm,
a lot of butter. Those are fabulous. And corn, like corn on the cob with lots of butter.
okay.
That's all I need to be happy in life.
It's got the juice.
See, I'm a burgers and steak and mashed potatoes kind of girl myself. I'm gonna be honest
Yes.
with you. Like I
Yes.
want those comfort foods and pot roast.
Mm. I'm with
Oh,
you.
Perfect pot roast.
Burgers and
so
mashed potatoes
good.
and ice cream. And it's so sad that ice cream makes us, you know, adds weight.
I know.
All food is good in
Hmm.
moderation. Moderation
That's
is
true.
the key word. That is very hard with ice cream.
Well, and it's so hard, like, because I love candy. I've always grown up a big, like, Skittles fan, like sour gummy worm, those sour strips. I
Yep.
absolutely love anything like that. And now, like, I can't eat anything because my skin just explodes, and
I
I
hear you.
can't eat, like, chocolate chip cookies, any sort of candy.
It's
It's
the
it's
heartburn
been
so
it's been
bad.
no, it's my acne. It's
Oh,
so bad.
I feel your
It's
pain.
I
I
get it
can't
like
drink
way
soda.
under here. Like,
Yeah, it's a good thing this lighting is a little dark because I broke out with something and I can't drink soda anymore because it makes my skin break out and it messes up my stomach too, which it never used to. Welcome to 40.
right. Yes.
yeah.
It's like we're getting
Let's
so old.
I bent down to get something off of the floor. Both of my knees cracked, and I was like, "You didn't hear that." And then I
Oh.
stood back up, and my spine went all the way up my back, and I was like, "Okay, you definitely heard that. That's not okay."
I have an inversion
I don't know
table at
what
my
happened.
house.
I lately I have been like if I like go to like put my shoe on or tie my shoe, my stomach does this like weird flip and inversion thing. Oh my gosh, I
Oh,
freak out every single time and I don't know what it is. So I'm just like trying to like gently put my shoe on from like way back here.
Oh man. So after Oliver was born, I had an epidural with both of my kids because if I don't have to be in pain, I don't want to be in pain. I'm good.
Yeah.
They do the thing, they put it in your spine. Well, now if
Yeah.
I sit forward like this for too long, my back refuses to straighten back up. I'm like, I'm 32 years old. Knock it off. These kids are lucky they're
Just too
cute, man.
early.
Oh, geez. That's something else. I'm so glad I'm not alone, though.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I sit on the floor, I play video games with my kids and I cross my legs. Oh, heaven forbid I get up and it's like
Oh, yeah. Like something
the
out of a
idea,
Japanese horror film. Inspiration for your next story there.
Caitlin, I'm sure you heard the story, or if you haven't, I'm going to tell you. I have my TV tray on the couch, where I usually, we eat dinner. I used to have my laptop on my TV tray down in the living room. I used to type on it all the time. Well, one day we came back. Actually, it was early November. I happened to be doing my newsletter one morning, and it took me a few hours, and I didn't even realize how long I was doing it. But I was hunched over, and I didn't realize it. When I went to get up again, my back did something that it was just like, what is going on here? So I threw my back out from leaning too hard,
oh my
and it got better, and then it went out again like 3 days later, and then I went to Booked in Chaos, and like that night after the event, and I thought I was fine again, and then I went to my hotel room, I crashed in bed, and when I went to get up again, nope. So
god.
turns out I had a herniated
Oh
disc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got his very own inversion table at
Yes,
home.
yes. You look it up. It's like I literally have to hang like 128 degrees this way. Like I do it one.
Oof,
They tell me I have to do it like every other day. I only do it like once a week, but I'm
because
doing
you're
a lot
stubborn.
better now, thankfully.
Well, because he's a man. We
Oh
always
yeah.
with
Yes,
my
I know.
husband, so he has high blood pressure and he has to take a blood pressure pill every single day. Every single day, I am knocking on his office. I'm like, you have to take your
Yeah.
pill.
See,
Like
my
you're
problem is
gonna die.
My wife used
I
to
was
remind me.
recently diagnosed with ADHD. That's my problem. So I'm like, did I take that med? If I take it too many times, I'm gonna die. If I don't take that med, I might die.
It's
Okay, we're
the
playing
simple
Russian
things.
roulette
It's like
today.
my wife used to have to remind me, to drink water. You know, because
Yes.
I'm,
I have
Yep.
water
yes,
today.
Yep.
It's
mine's
rare.
over there. I'm gonna go get it when we do a little talk about the schmiv in a minute.
Yeah, that should be a thing. Every time we do a schmiv we have to drink water because
There you
otherwise I
go.
just totally forget. I've got tea though. That's something. It has water in
It
it.
has water in it. Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we've established that Caitlin has lovely oddities about herself, like all her unique food interests. I would absolutely love to share a meal with you and all the things that are just like quirky.
I'm a
But
toddler. I have the diet of a 3-year-old. It's terrible.
excellent. You will fit right in my house. My son only eats either peanut butter and Nutella or Nutella and jelly every single day for lunch. It's great. You'll fit right in.
Oh, I can
Anyway,
do the
Quick
peanut butter.
quick story for you. Speaking of taste buds and appetites, uh, we're on our honeymoon 12 years ago at Disney World, and my wife Jen wants to go to Boma. It was like the African cuisine resort. We had the buffet. I went up a couple times, to get some chicken and vegetables and whatever, and then I walk over and there's a section with chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. I'm thinking, okay, they have chicken nuggets and mac and cheese in Africa. I can do this. So I walk back and I load up my plate and I walk back and she looks at me like, where did you get those? At the buffet, just like I did the last time. You went to the kids section. I didn't even realize I was in the
That's where all
kids section.
the good stuff
I
is.
didn't even realize I was in the kids
whatever
section.
floats your boat. All right, so re-diverting because we could sit here and talk about fun little food things all day long. Because I've got so many freaking stories, it's not even funny anymore. But re-diverting back to the author and the reader thing, because we are all readers, what was your most recent 5-star read? And you're
Ooh,
a critical reader, so that one's tricky.
yes. So I did read my first Stephen King book ever. I read Fairy Tale, and that was very good. My neighbor gave it to me, and it was like this big. It was huge. So that one, it was really cool. I really enjoyed all the different elements that he had in that one. That one was really good. I just read the This Girl's a Killer by Emma C. Wells. I don't know if you know her on TikTok. Kind of like a female version of Dexter. So that one was really cool. And then I just read, what was it called? A Song to Drown Rivers, and I can't remember her name. She's an Asian author, and it was gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And I absolutely loved how she went, like, she was not afraid to kill off characters, and it was phenomenal. Oh my goodness. I love like Chinese mythology, and I'm trying to read more Asian art, more Asian authors, and she nailed it, blew it out of the park. It
Nice.
was such a great story.
That's Anne
I looked
Lang.
it up. It is Anne Liang.
Liang, excuse me.
Anne
Thank
Liang.
you.
John Rivers. Yeah. That's really, really cool. I know as authors, it's
So
hard
good.
sometimes to read diversely because we have to write so much. And it's hard to like find a book that sucks you in so much that you're not thinking about things that you would change if you were the author or like what you would edit in your own books when you see somebody do something in that book. Sometimes it's really hard to like detach from that work mode. But when you find a 5-star read, it is chef's kiss. It
Yeah.
is thank you.
Yeah, and it's great. Right now I'm reading Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwell, and it's a YA title, but it's so good. It is so cool. It's like set in the desert, and like it's called a Debtera, which is kind of like kind of like an exorcist, but she has to like kind of cure and like make amulets for all these different manifestations that are cursing this like big castle. It's a lot of fun. This one's probably going to be a 5 star as well.
That one's pretty cool. I read a book. I can't remember who the author is right now. I'll have to look it up. But I read a book a while ago that I probably didn't appreciate as much when I first read it because I was trying to kind of diversify out of just reading YA all the time. That was my thing. What was it called? Wicked, was it Wicked Saints? I don't know. But it was about a woman and a man who are at this like almost like a retreat kind of situation in a desert, and whatever it was that was plaguing them physically manifested. So like one man was invisible and one woman was constantly being rained on all the time because she
Ooh.
has like significant depression over someone's death. um yeah, it was very, very good. I'll have to send it your way afterwards. I think you would probably enjoy it. It was something Saints.
Yeah.
um
Okay.
Forever ago. It was very, very good. Anyway, 5 star reads, absolutely important when you are an author because they just kind of like spark your love for what you do again too. When you can find that amazing book.
And that's why I loved like when I went to the UK, and it was so cool. I went on this, it was like a little canal, like this little floating bookstore, and I went and it was the last day of my trip, and I walked out with like 10 books. My suitcase could barely take it as it was. So I'm like putting them in my purse like but I noticed like UK authors, they like their styles were completely different than American authors. And like with the exception of like Madeline Miller, because I'm such a huge fan of hers. But like their prose, it was just so much more lyrical and it was beautiful. So
Mhm.
I'm a huge fan of UK authors. I don't know how like why they're different, but they're definitely, I feel like, a tier above us.
They're amazing. And I did find the book too. It's All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. So I dropped that in the chat for you too
Ooh.
if you want. Um,
Okay, awesome.
yeah, when you find an author whose style inspires you, or like the way that they word things, or the vocabulary usage that they have, like some of these authors have thesauruses in their brain. It's
I know.
fantastic.
I can
It's
think of
so
I have a
inspirational.
I
thesaurus
can
on my
think of two,
computer.
two in my approximate vicinity right here who fit that description.
Oh,
I just like the thesaurus tab I have bookmarked in Google
so do
Chrome.
I.
I have a thing about repetition. If I say the same word too many times close together, it bothers me because as a
Yeah,
reader, that distracts me. I notice it, the pattern of it showing
Yeah,
up. So I'm
yeah,
always, when I edit for him, I'm always like, no, no, no.
yeah, and now I know better. It's like, oh, I used that word recently. Well, let me think of another word. I use
Yes,
that
they
that
bring
yes.
my.
thesaurus. I look
Mhm.
up, like, vociferous synonym.
I type in Google. For me, it's colors. I'm like red colors synonym. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll choose from this, and then I have to like pull up the actual image because I need it to be the right color. So
Right. Well,
it
for
takes a long
me, it's
time.
usually it's like blood. How many different ways can you say the word blood? It's
I
blood.
know.
Yep.
The spray of crimson, the maroon tint, the whatever, like
Scarlet riblet. Like,
right, yeah, like the ruby liquid. Like it's just there's
yeah,
only so many ways you can say it, and it all depends on context. And sometimes you just need to say blood. Like there's blood on
yeah,
that shirt.
Or
Okay,
if you're
cool.
you're Anthony Burgess, you just
yeah.
come up with an entirely different language.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so really quickly, we have discussed a little bit about who Caitlin Brooke is as an amazing human being, and it is now time to enter the giveaway for Wired. Remember that the emoji for tonight is the fire emoji because we absolutely support Caitlin in her journey with Among the Hunted and Among the Burning, the second installment in the Skyglass. Is it going to be a series of three? Is it trilogy now?
Yes. One
Yeah,
more.
trilogy. Which her publisher dropped on her, and we will talk about that in just a minute. So fire. We light it up for Caytlyn Brooke. And remember, we reward you for sticking around. So drop those in there. I'm going to have Brian keep us going while I put your wheels on the amazing spinny wheel of colors, okay?
Yes. So we've established that you write in basically every genre, and you have about 11 books now, give or take. I know
I
this
have
is
7.
seven. I'm sorry, 11 awards and 7 books. Excuse me. So I know this is like choosing between your children, but do you have a favorite?
This is very difficult. I do love Wired. I think it's a very strong message, and I am extremely passionate about the message and about disconnecting from your phone and paying attention to, you know, the little things in life, the little beauties that you can see. So I really do like Wired. I think that was like a really strong stepping stone that I have as an author and finding, my certain rhythm and my storytelling. So I really enjoy Wired. I also, I think Among the Burning is one of the strongest books that I've ever written, and also the most raw book that I've done, and like the portrayal. There's so many moments in that book where it was so cathartic to write this one, and literally like just like I'm screaming along with the characters the whole time. So probably those two.
That has to be something when you're writing the book and you're screaming with you're like looking you're almost reading it like no, don't do that, like, and then you go ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I had the pleasure of reading Among the Burning before it came out. I was one of the trusted people who could have a copy of it. And I was like with my iPad, like it was amazing. I will say Among the Burning is one that you don't have to have read book one to read. You can read Among the Burning without Among the Hunted. So that one, if that's something that you're really interested in, you can totally pick up. Now, I have not had the chance to read Wired, which is the one that we are giving away tonight, and it is very high on my TBR, and I'm really looking forward to it because anything that's like such strong social commentary, I'm like totally about, especially right now with the world being in the state that it's in and everybody feeling the way that they feel. So I'm really looking forward to Wired. And it's always the one we love the most that doesn't get picked up the way it should.
Oh my god,
Like, I love The Ruin. I poured my whole heart into that book. It's not perfect. I will fully
it
admit
was
that, but it's
great.
also a book I take no criticisms on because that's my heart. Like that's, you know what I mean? Nobody reads it. So, and we've talked before, person to person, that Wired is one of the ones that you've had a harder time reaching an audience for. How does
Yeah.
that feel with that one?
How does it feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I kind of knew going into it, just because like I was kind of talking about this a little earlier, just because it is so introspective and a reflective mirror. And for a lot of people, we've formed attachments with our phones. And to now read a book that's kind of saying, this is bad and unhealthy, it turns a lot of people away. And it goes to a deeper level that people are just not ready to confront yet. So that that's been my most challenging part, I think. But I try not to make it, super like you shouldn't do this, because I myself struggle with social media, balance, and trying to be present for my kids. And when my husband comes in, like actually focusing on what he's saying and not like, yeah, oh no, that's hard. Like, you like there's a time like, so what I've started to do is say, hey, I need to finish this up and then I can be with you, and then I just put it down. Like with my
Mm-hmm.
kids, I'll I will leave it in the kitchen, and if I have to go check my messages, I go into the kitchen and I say, guys, I'll be right back, and I allow myself 2 minutes, quick scroll through, and then I come right back and I leave the
Yeah.
phone. So, but it's been really hard, and especially, you know, with them coming up and trying, like starting to get to this age, a lot of their friends already have phones, and they love playing video games, and they like, it's a point of pride how many hours they have logged playing these video games. So, there's nothing wrong with video games, but just
Mhm.
like in everything else in life, there's moderation. You
Right.
cannot, like, yeah, you have to get out. You have to be active and just like have other interests besides just in front of a screen. And it's really, really hard because there's a lot of people who don't want to be, like, don't even want to acknowledge it. And we're seeing a lot of it right now, especially with like little kids, where everyone just, okay, well, have a tablet. Here,
Yeah.
well, here's my phone. If you do this, I'll just give you my phone. And it's not healthy. So
Yeah.
it's a really delicate conversation to have. And I think that's why Wired is kind of on the on the outskirts.
Yeah, I feel like in general, dystopian has really like taken a turn out of the popular view as well. And sci-fi is one of those ones that you're either in the right place and the right time with the right book or you're not. And it
Yes.
says nothing about the quality of the book either. I was having this conversation actually with Silverton not long ago about The Ruin and how sad I was because it's a very introspective book, kind of like Wired in that
Yeah.
regard. And it's like, I knew when it came out, it wasn't the times. It came out after the pandemic. You've got Wired going on right now where everyone is sucked into technology. And especially as an author, trying to promote your books in this void of social media where we're all out here like I have this gem right here and maybe
Yeah.
you might like it if you took like 30 seconds of your time to just go look at it for me. I would be very happy. Like
Right.
we are
Yeah,
beg borrowing and stealing for
it's a movie.
airspace at this point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's really hard, especially with the marketing and like on TikTok, like that's definitely where I'm the most active. I feel like it's the most, you know, you can do the most variety on there. But there's a stark difference compared to my romance and like the spicier stuff, the content that I put out, compared to like I've been trying to do a lot of like hush little baby promos.
Right.
And I think they're so cool and it does nothing. Like I barely cracked 200 views. And it's so hard. That one has like the least amount of reviews. I think it's only at like 13. But like it's so hard to compete, especially right now, because like romantasy with spice is the number one. And especially if you have shadow daddies, if it's like mafia, if it's anything, stalker romances are huge. So unless you're in that, then you're like way down here and it's so hard.
Yeah, I don't think it's just you. You know, my views have been down lately. I think it's across the board. It's just
Yeah.
everywhere in the world.
I'm lucky to hit
Hmm.
200 views on TikTok right now. And honestly, I'm not investing a lot of my time in TikTok because of what happened and what's going to happen. They've already said that they're not going to sell. We already know it's going to disappear again unless some sort of
Yeah.
government miracle happens, which doesn't look great right now. So I'm just, we gotta beg, borrow, and steal for time on whatever platform is actually working for us. And that's why we moved Friday Night Rights over here to Discord because it grew a community here, and so it's a little bit less like sucking yourself into a screen all the time and screaming,
Right.
and it's more of just like, hey, I have this thing. Oh, I have this cool thing. Like, let's share and promote each other. And I think if you are going to be on technology all the time, that's definitely something that you need to be aware of too, is what impact you're making while you're attached to all of that technology, because there are a lot of keyboard warriors, which I'm going to actually kind of divert from our plan questions here a little bit and talk about what happened with the baker's wife, if you don't mind, because I think it's an important thing for us to be aware of about the responsibilities, not just as an author, but as a reader and the member of the bookish
Yeah.
community and people on the outside of that community as well.
Yes. It was absolutely horrendous. And I shared it. I just did like it was like a silly little, I don't know. I think the whole thing was like 7 seconds long, like
Right.
really quick little marketing video about like the premise of the book where it's a fun flip on the original gingerbread man fairy tale where it's an adult version. She bakes him, he comes to life as the form of the hunky man, and they have fun in the kitchen. Like it was my first romance book. I wanted to give it a shot, see if I could write something, and I just had fun with it. It's full of puns and I love it. I was not prepared for how insane it got. It actually went super viral on Instagram in December. It's at just under 8 million views right now.
Wow.
And yeah, and nearly all of those have been from like
Mm.
14 to like 20-year-olds who are accusing me of writing incest because apparently if she baked a cookie, she's now his mother. So
I
that's been
remember this
fun.
one. Yes.
Yeah. In insane leaps that these people are coming up with. I have been told I belong in jail. My husband should leave me. My children deserve a better mother than this. I am a disgusting human being. I am a disgusting monster. Like it's I've gotten private messages from these people like and there was a 17-year-old kid who just it was just I didn't even like respond and he was just like get the like I don't know if I can swear on here.
Yeah, you can.
He was just like get the f out of here, like you disgust me, like, and it's just because they are embedded with this confidence of the anonymity, and this generation in general does not have the empathy or the respect or the shame to like to be a decent human being. It seems like it's been insane just dealing with this. I'm like, guys, this is literally just a book. You don't have to read it.
Yeah.
And
You
like,
don't.
Yeah.
and I still get like I got a bunch today saying like, dude, what the f is this? Like, what the f is wrong with you? I've been called schizophrenic. I've been told I need to get on my meds. I am undiagnosed. Like, just beyond cruel and nasty
Wow.
things from people who are never going to read the book, have
Well,
no idea like what it is, who I am. They've gone on and they've found out like my husband's name, my children's names, like deep dive stalked into all of my information. And it's been insane. Like yeah, I made money off of it, but I would give every penny back
Oh yeah.
because having to deal with this, these people are disgusting human beings and
I'm
it
appalled
was insane. It was insane the things that they say to me because
because of
of
us.
a silly marketing post. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I don't
wild.
even know where to start with that. I mean, that's just.
Yeah,
And,
Basically, where we're starting is don't be a dick.
well,
Okay?
that,
Like
yeah,
just
obviously,
don't.
and
Like,
be honest.
read it before criticizing it. Number one, yeah, and then
well, and this
One,
wasn't
yeah,
yeah,
even your audience. You weren't trying to sell these people your book either, and for them to be so offended,
no,
it says a lot more about who they are than about who you are. Especially because, as we've mentioned, you tackle very important topics in your book, and the Baker's
yes,
Wife is not just some silly, cheesy little smutty novella either. It comes
right.
across as like
no,
humorous and lighthearted, and then that ending comes around, and there is a reason the Baker's Wife is an erotic thriller. It is not
yeah,
just in the romance category in the Kindle store.
right,
Again, I have no problem with romance writers, but what I'm saying is these books that you write have such introspection about difficult topics. And
right,
I keep diverting us from what we kind of have written down here, but it's because these things that you're doing is so important. And I do want to sort of talk really quickly about some of the inspiration for your published works. In particular, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about Among the Hunted and Among the Burning and why that is such an important series, I know I would greatly appreciate it. And if you are in here and you resonate with this, I highly recommend that you pick these up, specifically signed copies from Caitlin before we even get into the whole thing, because that benefits her publisher the least. So if you
yeah.
could directly go to the source on this one, we would be very happy. Anyway, tell us about
Right.
Among the Hunted and Among the Burning and why those are such important books for you.
So the biggest thing is this series highlights voices of survivors of sexual assault, and I from when I was, 7 years old, I have been just subjected to numerous assaults, both physical and verbal, and it's it was a lot. I had no idea what to do with all of this inside. All of 7th grade, there was this boy who sat behind me and continually felt my ass right through the desk. And I was literally, I turned in my chair. It was like the ones with that are like connected.
Yep.
So I sat sideways like this to watch the the board. And my teacher never said a word. Nobody around me ever said a word. And I wish to God that I had the confidence to just stand up and scream at him, like, stop touching me. And I saw him touch other girls too. And it's just, I was so beyond pissed off and frustrated. And then, I had a soccer coach who was very inappropriate. I had friends, dads who were very inappropriate to me. I used to work at a Subway, and I would turn around to like toast their sandwiches, and all I would hear was, damn, look at that ass. And it's like, I'm 16 years old. Like, I'm wearing khakis because I have to wear khakis because this
Right.
is the dress code.
Right.
Like, sorry. And it's just, it it is so, I was so sick of men getting away with it and getting away with being absolute pigs and treating women the way that they wanted because they knew there were no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote this novel where it's Greek nymphs, so it's based off of Greek mythology, and the whole concept of Greek mythology is so misogynistic in itself, where the nymphs, who are these beautiful, powerful warriors of nature with all of this amazing elemental magic, are reduced to just these bimbos who stand in the corner and wait for the gods to need them for pleasure. And I learned about that in 6th grade, and I like put in my hand, I was like, what is this? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
So
no, they got the
I,
short end of the stick for real. They
oh
were treated like
my gosh.
total property.
Right. Like, one of them even turned into a cow to escape Zeus, and even that wasn't enough. He still continued with the act. Like, and it just shows the depravity of men as just a species in general. And again, how I said there's no consequences. So in this, the nymphs get together, they hunt down their abusers, and she bites out his tongue, spits it in his face, and then drives a spike through his skull.
Good.
Like, and even that's not good enough because being a god, he can't really die. So in the second one, she goes down to Tartarus and proceeds to do the same thing to his soul. And it's
Yep.
just
There's such a story
until
of
they
redemption.
get it.
And
Yes.
and
And
it's
I,
not just like, so this comes across a little bit, and this is not how it's meant to come across, but this very like comes across a little bit like men suck. And that's not really the whole vibe here, is the thing.
Oh,
Like,
I
some
apologize.
men suck. We had a conversation right before the live. My husband apologized yesterday for his species because so many people
Yes.
are so vocal and horrible. And those are the ones that are making the histories that we learn about. And those are the ones that are putting us in these positions. Like, you are not alone being a survivor of these types of assaults. There was a neighbor when I was younger, lived across the street from me, used to tuck his penis up and stick it in his like waistband and just walk around with it like that when his children and me and my brother were outside playing with his kids in the yard. Like, I am a survivor of SA myself from multiple individuals. Like, I have had family members even do very inappropriate things in my life, and it is not all men, and that is very important. And it's not only men, right? Women can do these horrible things too, but the
yep.
prevalence of this being such a problem, right? And so
Mhm.
you're telling such an important story where these women are just trying to be themselves and just trying to be, learn who they are in a world that expects so much of them. And then they get mixed up into all of this stuff and like lose important pieces of themselves because SA takes
Yes.
so much from you. And then you have this
Yes.
redemption arc where they're like not just getting revenge on the people who stole these things from them, but also like learning how to survive when
Yeah.
things have happened people they love and to themselves, and also learning how to accept if you can't forgive, and hopefully forgive for yourself and not for them. And it's just like this whole healing journey in Among the
Yes.
Hunted and Among the Burning. And we did briefly touch on how your publisher responded to that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So they were 100% behind Among the Hunted. I originally started writing it as a YA. It was very toned down. It was more on the lines of like Percy Jackson. And then they saw like the potential in it, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to rewrite this as an adult book because we really believe in what you're saying. This is really important stuff, really important message. So we don't want you to be confined to the YA parameters. So why don't you kick it up to adult and then, you know, do write what you really want to say." So I was like, "Okay, awesome." So gloves were off. I was very excited. When it was about to come out, I told them, because the assault is included in the novel. It's not graphic, but it is included because my whole idea, like going back, like with the men, it's not to hate on men. It's to open their eyes as to what is really happening and what their actions actually do and how they affect the women that they hurt or anyone, because in Among the Burning, Hera is also a perpetrator and an
Oh
abuser.
yeah.
So it's again, like you were saying, it's not just men. So
Mm-mm.
anytime someone tries to control you or manipulate you, that's what I want you to. That's what I tried to do and show that raw experience of it. It's not just the physical and it's the emotional and the mental and it's like a cloud that just is following you from that day on.
Mm-hmm.
So they it came out and I told them we need to put trigger warnings in this, and they said absolutely not. I refuse to put a trigger warning in here. The big five publishers don't do it, and mind you, they're just a lowly indie hybrid publisher, like, and they vehemently refused to put in trigger warnings. So lo and behold, book came out and it bombed on NetGalley. It got so many DNFs, so many 1 stars because people went in expecting like a fun, carefree fantasy, and they got a hardcore, you know, survivors book, and they were
Which
not ready for it.
Which, by the way, we say all the time, consent is sexy, right? And informed consent with books is what trigger warnings are. And here you are telling a story about consent and consent that was not given or revoked. And then they
Right.
go and say, hey, we're not going to opt into a consent situation for readers. And
Right.
how much does that say about the society that we live in, right?
Right.
Just putting that
Right.
out there.
Oh my gosh, exactly. So, and I was like trying to apologize to every single person like who had left a review, and I was like, "I'm sorry." Like I tried to fight for trigger warnings. So, at all of my shows now, because it's still not in the first book, I always say this deals with this. It is in here. I say if you don't want to read about it, please do not purchase this book. So, and it's great and it spawns really good conversation. So after that happened and the reviews tanked, they said that it was all my fault and that it was the worst book that they had released of the year. And because of that, they would no longer be doing book 2, which again, they didn't tell me until I had submitted it and they were doing their edits on it. I was wondering, where is this book? What is taking so long? They kept missing deadlines. And I was like, what is going on? And they said, well, we're actually going to cancel this because sexual assault survivors are no longer trending. Nobody wants to read about this stuff. It's fine if you write it in the horror genre, but fantasy readers, no, no, no. Sexual assault survivors do not belong here.
I have so many feelings
I
about this.
can't.
And then, I went and wrote an erotic horror because I wanted to explore the way
Yeah.
that sexual assault affects men and women and can break you physically and mentally, right?
Yep.
And here, your publisher is saying this entire marginalized group of people do not belong, right?
Yep.
And so then, not only is this wildly offensive, okay, to the point where I know that I will never query with this publishing house ever, ever. I actually considered it, but I am not. So
No.
it's wildly offensive. And then fun things happened when Caitlin decided to take it into her own hands, right? And so now there's more going on with that. Why don't you tell us that story?
So yeah, so now I basically told them to write off, and I took the book. Because I knew, like, I had to continue, and they were even saying they're like, nobody cares about the rest of the series, like, it's done, just leave it. And I care. Like, my healing is not done yet. So
Mhm.
I did this. I had to wait several years to publish the second one until the non-compete clause was over. So once that was done, I hired a bunch of lawyers and we got it even earlier. So I published this one all by myself. It was the first one that I had done completely on my own, like trying to figure it all out. And I am so beyond proud of this book, and now that it's won an award for best in epic fantasy from the Independent Press Awards, I just wish I could go over to them and like scream in their face.
Well, but the thing is, you've put love and blood and sweat and tears into the marketing of this book. This is the first book that I had really heard of from you, not the second one. Among the Hunted was the first one
Yeah.
that I had really heard of for Caitlyn Brooke. It was the one you were discussing on Twitter, the one that was so
Mhm.
deeply personal to you. And you were like, I will not let this book die. I will do whatever
Yeah.
it takes to get this book to people. But they're reaping the benefits
Oh my
after
gosh.
everything that they've done.
So yes, I went on TikTok and I doubled my reviews. I found my readers, and it's close to like 50 reviews now for Among the Hunted. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, they're like, "Hey, we turned Among the Hunted into an audiobook. Isn't that great?"
They turned it into
I
an
was
audiobook.
livid. I was like telling people, I was like, "Do not buy this book." Like, oh my gosh. And now, after everything they had said to me about how it doesn't matter and we don't belong in fantasy and it's the worst book, nobody wants to read it. Now they went without my knowledge. They went and they completely created the audiobook, put it out there and expected me to be happy about it. And I like if you listen to it, like the main character's name is Katani. I was never consulted how to pronounce these names. The main character is not pronounced Katani in the audiobook. It's like Katani or something like that. And no, no. And again, they're just taking advantage of me because I didn't give up. I believed in this book, and now they're like, "Ooh,
There,
great.
you know,
We're going to get some money from this." I
there's there's no clause that says you have to give consent. That they own it.
no.
Not in a
No.
track club contract, which is actually going to take us to Brian's question for you about publishing.
Mm,
Well, I don't have questions because my
Oh, it was your Indian trad pub question.
yes. I mean, obviously you started out as trad and now you're indie. You know, so it's. I mean, I think it's safe to say that you prefer. You know, after everything that's happened, you prefer indie over trad.
absolutely. Yes. I like when I first started with them, they were very, very small. They were more just like a cover design, like kind of book builder. They didn't take any royalties. They just put the book together. They got me an editor and like just made a quality book. And that was it. And they just produced it. And like I said, they didn't take any royalties. So when I signed with them, it was like a 50-50 royalty split. There was no advance or anything. And they would pay for all of the developmental and line edits and the proofreading, which was a huge part of my budget. So I was like, okay, yeah, this sounds great. And I had a good experience with them for the first couple of books. Then the pandemic hit, and then they took this attitude with my Skyglass series. So they refused to let me have like any input on the cover. They refused to let me line edit. So when Among the Hunted came out, it was rife with errors. Oh my
Oh,
God, I was so embarrassed. It was horrendous. And I told them I found like 26 errors in the first 50 pages. And I was like, what is this? I said, this is so sloppy. This looks horrendous. And their answer was, well, even the big, well, fully traditional books have errors. And I'm like, this
what?
many?
They're
Not
Like,
this
supposed
many,
to.
your
geez.
standard? Like, oh
Right.
my God. I said,
Listen,
no, this is awful. So I made them go back, and I had a whole list of everything that was poorly done. It was barely proofread. And again, they wouldn't let me do anything regarding the creation of Among the Hunted. And that's when the relationship just completely soured. Every phone conversation that we had, they were so condescending and so rude. They even told me to lie. They presented me with this book, and they wanted me to provide the blurb on it for the front cover. And I read it, and I did not connect with it. I did not like the story at all. And I told them that. And I said, I cannot in good conscience blurb this book.
mm-mm.
And when they had asked me, they said, even if you don't like it, lie.
Nice.
And I was
Now
like,
that's
what
like
did you
Yeah,
just
this is.
say to
that's when like you put the quote on the front from a different author that's like, something about the book, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Yes.
endorsing something I don't believe in. And as a business practice in general, that is a horrible way to go about things. I get damaged
Yeah.
books, for example, from KDP or Ingram Spark or whichever distributor I have to go through at this point in time,
Right.
right? Like I'll get one that comes in with a bent corner. I'm not selling that book because my
No.
name is on that book. I'll sell it to you for partial price, right?
Right.
Because like it's a
Yeah.
partially perfect book. But all of these companies are out here not putting out products that they should be proud of, and that is shameful.
It
And I
is.
think
Yeah.
as an indie author, that's both one of the best and worst parts about being an indie author. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your indie journey?
So I absolutely love being an indie author. I have cultivated such an incredible network of people. I mean, and Sam, you're one of the cornerstones of that. Either you're my editor because you did Crimson Crisp, and you also proofread for me for Among the Burning. So I am so thankful for you and your expertise. My friend Chelsea, I actually met her through my publisher. She left them as well. And now we've grown really, really close, and she does a lot of my books, and she's very familiar with my writing style. My friend Neil, he does all my cover designs. He's based in the UK, and he's just absolutely fabulous. He does all the interior layouts for me, and he gets me all the files, so all I have to do is like upload them because I don't know how to do any of that. So that is so nice. And then my friend Kelsey, she's amazing, and you've used Kelsey before, Sam, and she's so wonderful, just so creative as an artist. And she's just whatever I need, she's like, yes, you need bookmarks, you need candles, you need vellum sheets, like I got you. And it's so nice. And like my friend Brad, he created my website. So it's so nice. And like it is hard as an indie author because you are responsible for absolutely everything.
Yeah.
It is very expensive, and a lot of people underestimate how much it is to publish a book.
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many people reach out to me saying, hey, I'm ready, or I want to publish a book. Like, what do I have to do? And I'm like, okay, well, this isn't just like a easy conversation here. And they're like, I had no idea all of that goes into it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
publishing a book is not for the empty-walleted.
yeah, I tell people that writing is actually the easiest part of the whole
yeah,
process.
It is. Well, and I'm over
absolutely.
here, like, as an editor and a proofreader because I've got my English degree, knowing I'm not perfect, right? Because, like, what human being is? And I'm over here,
Right.
like, well, I'm not going to charge anything close to the industry standard rate because, hot damn, for one
Yeah.
to edit The Ruin, which is my biggest book, to be fair, okay?
Right.
My
That's a
biggest
big
book,
one.
it was point, no, it was 6 cents for every, was it every 10 pages?
Oh,
She would up the price. So it was like 6 cents, or no, it was 6 cents for every 100. So it was 0.06 cents for the first 100 pages, and then it was 1 cent for the next 100 pages, and then it was 1.06 cents for the next 100 pages. And I was looking at a book like editing cost that was going to be upwards of like 3 grand, 4 grand.
yes.
And that was assuming I only gave her the parts of the book that I was most concerned about. Like, it is not cheap
Wow.
to get your books edited. It is not cheap to get your books proofread. It is not cheap to get
Nope.
cover designed and ISBNs and formatting, and marketing is expensive
Yeah.
if you have an advertising budget. Like,
Yes.
I ordered 100 copies of this book, okay, just to put the pretty foil on the cover. $1,000. a
Yeah.
thousand dollars. And I'm over here like, buy a PR box because I'm broke and eating ramen noodles.
And you know the funny thing is you're gonna sell 100 copies of that, but you
Yeah.
still have to lay out that
I've
money.
made it back, right?
Yeah.
And that's like a huge win, is to just be able to cover the cost of launching a new book as an indie author. That is very
Yeah.
expensive. And so, like, I am so grateful for everyone who buys a book. I know Brian is, I know Caitlin is. That's how this works, right? But like, it's not for the empty walleted. It's not. You can easily go into tens of thousands of dollars of debt just trying to get
Yes.
started
I
as an author.
I know from
But
experience.
like
Yeah.
you said, you've made some amazing connections, and it's more than just money.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so nice. I like the book community. It's so wonderful how everyone is like just ready to help you. And it's so nice. And if you really get into the bookish community, like you find like I absolutely love being able to hang out with you guys, not once but twice in real life. So it's so nice.
Same
And
here. Yeah, and I don't know
like,
what I would do without Sam. And you're just you know you're just a pleasure to be with.
oh,
And
thanks.
it's and yeah, it's I mean, we've talked about such your harrowing experiences and everything that you do, whether it's writing and everything that you do outside of writing. Um, you know, can you tell me a little bit about how do you balance everything and stay sane if that's possible? What do you do for your mental
What sanity?
health?
Like I said, those word searches really help ground me. I can't put enough emphasis on that. I also love riding my bike. It's really sad now being in the winter time that I can't do that. But I got like this nice, really big like beach cruiser with the little basket, and I absolutely love it. We go to this little park that we have, and it's a nice bike, kind of trail that's provided, and it's so nice. Oh my goodness, just to get out a little bit and exercise and just being out in the fresh air, that's really really nice. I told my husband that I want to go to the beach at least once a year because I tried to move to North Carolina and he said nope. So I
Huh.
said I want to go to the beach. We have not been for a couple of years now, so I am due an to beach trip. I absolutely love to body surf,
Yeah.
and I'm really good on that boogie board. I have run over several children coming up onto the sand,
You're
but
really good on that
that's
boogie
what I
board. You've
love.
only run over several children.
Oh,
Just a few.
several. I took out one grown man,
Oh no.
like right by the knees. I was like,
I So, Caitlin, that's kind of the way that it seems like you approach life in general. It's just like, I'm here, I'm going to live, and I'm going to make the best out of this and get the fuck out of my way. Like,
And yes, we can say
And I
Yeah,
fuck
it's
shit,
better to
God
do it
love
damn it.
as
that.
for
Yes.
forgiveness and permission.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man. All right, so we are going to move into some fun questions here in just a minute. But before we do that, I have one more serious question to ask to wrap up this kind of like Caytlyn Brooke saga here. And that is, what advice would you give to unpublished authors who are aspiring to become an author like you?
I would just say just to keep writing. So many people approach me and they want to know, well, how do I market? How do I find readers? What do you do to get your books out there? And they haven't even written the book yet. Like, write the book. You need to write the book. That's just the biggest thing. And so many times, like it is a very large hurdle and people get stuck. Go to seek out at your local library, seek out the writers groups there or the different resources and try to connect again within the community and find someone who will keep you accountable and to just give you that inspiration to get that story done because you can't edit a blank page, you can't sell a blank book. So really just keep writing, keep pushing yourself, and then once it's done, then you can join the never ending hair pulling fiasco that is marketing.
It's getting out of your own way. And that's what I tell people all the time, too, is like you get so bogged down in the details and about the making of the money and turning it into a career and stuff when at
Yeah.
first you just have to love something enough to create it. You just have to
Right.
stop worrying about what other people are going to think and who's going to read it because nobody's going to read it if it doesn't exist. So just
Right.
write the book.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And stop putting pressure on yourself too to be in like the hot markets, right? Or like to
Oh,
have longer like 500-600 page book. Who's got time to read those
right.
every time?
Oh,
Like
Oh my
they're
gosh.
great, but sometimes a 90-page novella is exactly what you need. Like
Right.
mm-hmm.
I
write the story.
just finished I just finished Manacled. Oh my goodness. Like it was over 1,000 pages. This was a huge book and that was 1,000 word pages. Like I just woo.
How isn't that fan fiction as well? Manacled?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fan
She
fiction gets
did a
looked down on, but
phenomenal
it's
job.
fan fiction should not get looked down on. The problem with fan fiction is that technically it's copyrighted material, it's the author's whatever that you're pulling from, but like it can be beautiful and fun to read just to read it too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It tore my heart out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
I've heard lots and lots of good things about that one. All right, so we are gonna do two more opportunities to be involved in the giveaway tonight. I've been dropping prompts in the comments over here because we've been talking so well that I didn't want to interrupt the flow. So if you're interested in getting a signed copy of Wired, we're gonna procure one of those from Caitlin and send it your way. Drop the fire emojis here in the comment section, and I will put you on the spinning wheel of awesomeness again and again and again and again and again because you are still here and we love that. So thank you so much. And we are going to do 3 rapid fire fun questions each because we are down to the bottom of the time limit already because we've had so much fun. So
Yes, and we
Brian's going to get
appreciate
us
you sticking
started
around.
and I'm going to put names.
Yes, and and thank you for sticking around, and thank you, Caitlin, for sticking around and finding us. And it's
Yes.
we've not
Sure.
had this has not been the conventional interview format. We've had such and this has been such
I've
an
had so much
amazing
fun.
and poignant conversation that we've had that it's and I'm honored to listen to your story. And the good and the
Thank
bad.
you.
I sincerely mean that. That's not just
Yeah,
rhetoric.
Brian, you are wonderful because you make space for people to tell their stories and be present in everything that they need to do. And I just wanted to say thank you for letting women share our
Yes,
stories
absolutely.
tonight
No,
because
and
the
seriously,
poor
yeah.
guys sitting
I
here.
knew, I could tell that this was not the place for me to try to interject myself. This is not about me. This is all about you tonight. And, but anyway, we're going to get into some of the fun questions now. Not that the rest of this hasn't been fun. I mean, you are the epitome of fun. So, um, I think I have an inkling about this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is the most daring thing you've ever done?
Ooh. It's tied. I skydived on my 30th birthday, and I swam with black tip reef sharks.
Ooh.
So one of those two.
Okay.
Oh man.
I had a feeling it was the skydiving. I didn't know about the other one. Yeah.
Yes, I was on a cruise, and they're like, "Oh, here you go." And I jumped on in, and there was jellyfish and these huge 9-foot sharks, like one even skimmed my belly like with its dorsal fin as it went. And we didn't realize, but these sharks had been conditioned that once people start getting out of the water back onto the boat, they get fed. Well, my ass was all the way back here and the boat's way over here, and all of these sharks just started circling and coming
Whoa.
right next to the ladder, and I had to like slowly paddle my way back. It was wild.
Oh my goodness. I would be
Oofa.
It was
terrified.
so cool. It was
All
really
right.
cool.
That is adrenaline that I will never ever 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 possess. Like, damn. Okay. My next question feels tame now, but are you a clean or messy person?
Oh, I'm very clean.
Yeah.
Except for my Tupperware container. I just throw those puppies in there.
Wait, you have actual Tupperware and not just empty butter containers? Because that's what I grew up with.
Oh, yes, we have the little matching, things with the red tops, and it's mainly my
Fancy.
husband who bought them all, and he gets so mad, like the linen closet and the Tupperware closet. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
I ain't got time for this.
Yeah. We used to have a lot more Tupperware, but my wife wanted to switch to glassware instead. You know. You
Oh,
know. But
Yeah, we've got Pyrex with the lids.
doesn't warp
yes,
as
yes, and
much.
the lids are a little stained from the pasta, but it's
Yeah,
Because he's Italian, you know?
exactly.
Everything's got the pasta and the pasta sauce.
It's
Anyway.
meat
that's right.
balls.
Yeah, we've got the glass Pyrex bowls now with a lid, and that's like fancy pants Rich McGee containers for me because
Yeah.
I really did grow up with like we saved the lunch meat containers and the butter
Yeah,
containers and cream cheese containers. Like those were
Yeah.
your Tupperware.
Yeah.
I
I'm bad
remember
about
those.
that though.
Yeah. So, if you were trapped on a deserted island or a foxhole, who's the one person you want with you?
Ooh, deserted island or a foxhole? Well, until recently, I would say my sister, but it has been very strained lately, so
Mm.
I am not going to wish her on that island with me. Um, I would probably say my kids. We would have a blast hanging out on there.
Oh.
Now we have to ask Evie's favorite question in honor of her not being here tonight. But
Yes.
what's your favorite dinosaur? And she does have a right answer to this question, so I'm curious.
Oh, it's Ankylosaurus, without a doubt. I even have a squishmallow.
I'm not even familiar with an
Evie's a
ankylosaurus.
raptor girl.
Oh, raptors are awesome, but I love how they're like just little tanks. Brian, they're like really, really spiky on the sides with the bone for the tail. And I like how, because they're herbivores and you don't like really expect anything from them. They're very quiet, but they pack a hell of a punch with that tail.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Like getting hit with a bulldozer.
Oofa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a wrecking ball. Whew. Okay, so I'm gonna ask
yeah,
one for
wrecking
me
ball for sure.
because I asked one for Evie. I'm gonna ask one for me now. Do you collect anything besides books?
Yes. Magnets, tea mugs, tea towels, and decaffeinated tea. From Bardstown, how we went to that little shop,
Mm.
and I got like the little blueberry tin of tea. It
Mm-hmm.
has sparked this huge thing because now I'm old and I can't drink caffeinated tea. So and anytime after 5 o'clock. So I'm trying to expand my decaf tea, and
Nice.
everywhere I go now, I'm going to try to find a fun flavor.
Nice.
Mm, I love that. See, I was telling people like when I'm older and I get to be the crotchety grandma or whatever, and like I pass away and my kids have to come clean out my house. I want to have a collection of one just like really obscure thing that I care deeply about that nobody else gives a shit about. Right? But I don't know what
These are
that is
not
yet. Figuring it out.
Like my tea mugs are tumbling out. Like they are like three triple stacked, like in our thing. My husband gets so mad. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why do you need so many tea mugs?"
Okay,
I
you,
love
you
it.
you mentioned Bardstown. I am forfeiting my last fun question, and I'm going to ask this one instead. Yeah, because I want you to tell this. Did you find a creature from the great beyond at a gravesite somewhere in Bardstown, Kentucky?
He did. It was insane. Like I was like not a believer, like super skeptical, like was super happy to go about it and had a great time on this ghost tour. And but when she was like showing us like the pictures of like the guy standing next to the fireplace or by the rocking chair, I was like, okay. So when we were at the graveyard, it was pitch black. I on my phone it was pitch black. Like I put the flash on. I was like, all right, I saw a bunny rabbit and I was trying to get a picture of the bunny rabbit. I'm going through my phone, I see this picture and like the light had captured it and it was like because it was on like night mode, it was kind of exposed for like 2 to 3 seconds. That's it. And I got that picture of this woman like you could see like her bun and she's moving like
I,
everything else in the picture
I couldn't believe it.
is completely clear,
Yeah,
but she was nothing but a blur, and nobody in our group had this sort of ball gown style on. Like
Mm-mm.
I freaked out and I went to the lady, like the tour guide, and I was like, oh, I think I saw something. And I was freaking out and she's like, oh yeah, that's a good one. And I was like,
a good one.
I
Low
know.
key jealous. Low key jealous. I told my husband I really want an EMF detector now because you got that picture when we were in Bardstown. Like now I want to go around Kalamazoo because there's lots of like haunted places around here and I want to be like, I'm communicating with you. There's a woman who owns a bookstore in Paw Paw, which is about a half hour from my house. Her name is
Mm.
Penny. She's lovely. The store is called Words on Pages. And there's a resident ghost in the bookshop. And I went down to the basement. It was like a dirt floor kind of Michigan basement. And I went down there and kind of stirred up some shit like in a friendly way. I was like, "Hi, I'm Sam. You can't come home with me, but let's hang out. You want to make some noise? Like, tell us that you're here." She said she set up cameras after, or she was going to set up cameras. She forgot to do it and she went to leave and then she came back in. And when she came in, there was thumping and scraping happening in the basement and she ran the fuck out of that store.
My
Like,
gosh.
so now you've inspired me and I need an EMF detector and I need some cameras and I need to go ghost hunting. All right, I got one
Awesome.
last
I
one.
think we
I
should.
got one last one for you. What is the best gift you have ever been given?
Ooh. I actually really, really love my husband a couple years ago, he got me the wax melting kits. So now for anytime somebody buys like a signed copy from me, I always do like a handwritten letter and I seal it in an envelope with a really cool wax seal on it. And I love just combining, yeah, just like that. And I love combining all the different colors. And I have my kids come over and they pick one out and they're like, Mom, what book are you sending? And I'll tell them and they'll be like, Ooh, this color would go well with that. And like, I just love being able to incorporate them into it. And then my daughter loves blowing out the little candle. So I
That's
am having
fun.
so much fun with that wax sealing kit.
Yeah.
That is
I
really,
wish I
really
still
cool.
use that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish so too. And like better quality paper. Like I love it when in the movies they
Yes.
open up the really thick paper and it goes whoosh, and it doesn't tear at all and the wax seal just pops right off. And I'm like, that's a good sheet.
Get our feather pens, like
Mm.
bring me
Yes.
back.
I need
Like,
one of those
oh
letter openers to just go. Shh. Yeah.
yes, I have a
Yes.
sword.
Oh,
Exactly.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. All right, so we're gonna do one last entry into the giveaway. Go ahead and drop flames in here, and we are gonna move into the kind of the sign off stuff at the end of the evening tonight, and I will put those on the wheel. Brian, take us to the end.
Caitlin Brooke, can you please tell us where are you on social media besides now Discord?
So right now I am on Facebook, TikTok, X, Instagram, and Threads. I think I got them all.
So many different sites that we have to keep up with all the time, and they come and they go,
Oh my
and like
gosh.
the come and go and whatever. You also have your website, right? Caytlyn Brooke Books, I believe. I posted it in the comments up here.
I don't
And I
even
know
know what
that
it is.
it's on Wix. It's oh gosh. Caytlyn
Caitlin,
Brooks,
Caitlin Brooke.
CaitlinBrooke.wixsite.com, books by Caitlyn. There it
That's
is.
what it is. I
Go
didn't
in the
make it, so I
comments.
don't know.
And go there and check out Caitlyn's stuff because it has links to things, and there is a paperback signed copy order form on the homepage as well on the website, so you can go get Among the Hunted and Among the Burning without benefiting her publisher as much as anything else would. We want to benefit Caitlyn, not butt faces. Okay,
Yeah.
so go ahead and do that. And then, Caitlyn, are there any events where we can find you this year?
Yes, so I am not traveling at all this year, but I have some coming up. I'm going to be at the Whimsical Winter Market this next Sunday. That's just in Elmira, New York. So kind of middle of nowhere. I'm also going to be at the Montour Falls Library for a big event March 1st. At the Arnott Mall in Big Flats, New York on March 29th. At Ithacon on April 5th and 6th at Ithaca College. And I think that's all I have on the books for right now. I will also be at Elmira College in September. It's going to be a fun like family weekend type thing. I'm usually there. And then in November, again at the Arnott Mall, I'm with the Twin Tiers Comic Con group.
Nice.
So there's an awesome Comic Con that comes in early November.
Nice. Yeah, I know you were doing a lot of like wider range traveling, but that kind of thing racks up in expenses pretty quickly. And it's hard as an indie author, but also the amount of
Yeah.
time it takes to travel. So to find good local events is definitely key. I know I do like
Yes.
craft show things out here, and if you can find the people at those shows, it's excellent.
Yeah, I need
So
I need
great.
to talk to you offline, or actually, well, both of you, in fact, because craft shows on Long Island are not the same. People don't go to buy books; they only go to eat food and buy gifts for just hang out. I've experienced
Yeah.
that, so it's different for me. I do a lot better at the signings. Around my region in like the
Yeah,
eastern
that's
part of the
tricky.
United States, but yeah, that's
Well, you're in like New York though. You're in like
yeah.
the hey, get out of my
Yes.
way,
That
York.
is true. Yeah, we don't take shit from anybody. It's like you know, books. I don't read books.
Oh, do
Right.
that. Just
I
give
don't
me a
have time for
hot
that.
dog.
Yeah. So
Start selling some books, like some food, and then give a book away with a food
yeah,
purchase. There you
there
go.
you go. Yeah.
There
Have
you
them
go.
actually sit
Maybe
down for
some
dinner for
Zeppelis.
two. Yeah, something like that. It'd be fun. All right, I'm gonna make sure this wheel is ready to go.
All right.
Let me see what we've got here. I don't know if I'll be able to turn my camera around, so you're just gonna have to trust me tonight because my iPad is attached to a charger
Yes.
right now because I am irresponsible. All
Yeah.
right, we had tons of entries here, by the way. Just good.
Oh, yay!
All right. Is there anything else you want us to know before I spin the fancy wheel of colors?
Thank you all for being here.
Just double checking. We always ask when we sign up. All right, ready? Drum roll. Here we go for the giveaway signed copy of Wired.
The picture froze again. Oh no. Let me see if I can
Spinning,
play with it.
spinning, spinning,
Okay, here it
spinning.
is. We're back.
All right. Our winner tonight, Marissa Scioto, getting a signed copy
Yes.
of Wired from Caitlyn Brooke. Marissa's one of my good friends here. She tends to win a lot on Friday Night Rights because she's always here to support our authors, which is great. But we will get you a signed copy of Wired. And if you did not win tonight, just make sure you go check out Caitlyn's books. I know several of them are in Kindle Unlimited, right?
Yes. So
So
I have Among the Burning, Crimson Crisp, Baker's Wife, and Hush Little Baby. So 4 separate books right on Kindle Unlimited for you.
nice. And don't get the audiobook for Among the Hunted. It's not good. It's not Caitlyn's consent. Sexy. Okay.
But you can get Kennedy Sutton. She did the incredible work for The Baker's Wife, and that's available on every platform. So whichever one you can find it on, she is absolutely amazing. And seeing her get that low voice, I don't know how she did it. She did amazing, though.
Yeah, I know. She didn't tell me that she was doing it until after it came out, and then after it came out, she was like, "Oh my god, that was so much fun."
Yeah,
Which is very fun.
I suppose now's a good time to tell you that The Baker's Wife is my favorite holiday spicy story, even more than my own.
It works for me too, though. I have to change the main character's name from Emma to Emmy because my daughter's name is Emma. When I read it, I have to read Emmy just because.
I get that.
All right, and then as far as Friday Night Rights, of course, Brian and I are very happy that you came here and hung out with us tonight. So thank you for doing that. We really appreciate your time and the people who are here in the audience.
Yes.
For Friday Night Rights, next week we have the beautiful Desi Marie joining us, who is one of the Sinful Signings founders, who has a new book, Whiskey and Weights. So we'll be talking to Desi next week on Friday Night Rights. This episode of Friday Night Rights will be up on YouTube very soon. Brian's been getting them up on Friday nights because he's a boss. Usually they're up by Saturday. Right. So definitely check that out when it comes out. Feel free to use it to market your books and promote yourself as an author, because that's what we want. And then just so everyone knows, the anthology is chugging along for Friday Night Rights. It's called See Me As I Am, and we are focusing on invisible mental and physical disabilities, things that are often overlooked in the public eye. At this point, I believe we have 6 submissions. Authors are still rolling in after they get their edits done, and they're kind of coming in one at a time. They are going really well. They're beautiful, heartbreaking stories of what it's like to be in this community and often overlooked. So we are really excited to see that kind of progressing as well. Our plan is for that to come out in July of 2025, and the proceeds for this anthology will go towards NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness in the United States. And in this time when all of these programs were getting cut and defunded, it's really important for us to be putting that money back into places that we believe do good work. And NAMI is one of those places for sure. I'm also a strong supporter of RAIN, like Caitlin mentioned earlier, which is for SA and survivors in that front. And then we just want to make sure that we are, doing everything. Friday Night Rights is a nonprofit. We don't make anything off of this. So we just want to build up.
Yes,
Any authors, any readers, any narrators.
This is not about us. It's all about you.
Yeah, this is the community, and we are so excited to be a part of it. So we will have a cover reveal coming for that anthology shortly. We are coordinating that behind the scenes for both digital and physical cover reveals. It's going to be really nice. We're going to get some things sent out to some people here to help us spread the word on socials soon. So thank you for listening to that spiel as well. I'm super excited about this. Brian's excited about it. Evie is too. She can't be here tonight because of her invisible disability. Actually, that's keeping her from being able to host at the moment. So she wanted to wish you a wonderful weekend and thank you as well. So
yes,
and
thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
It really was. It was so much fun. And it really is enlightening to hear your story. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And thank you for sharing all of that with us.
Thank you so much.
I know it's deeply personal, and one of the things I tell people all the time, as someone who has PTSD and is an SA survivor and MS and now ADHD and potentially autism and all these things, that not talking about it doesn't do anyone any good, right? And so as much as it hurts sometimes to open up about it, it is so very important. And I have to say that I think this is definitely one of the episodes of Friday Night Rights that has the most social impact in it. So I do highly recommend that if you did not win a copy of Wired, or even if you did, go check out Caitlyn's books. They're well worth the read. So thank you so much, Caitlyn. It has been wonderful. I am now losing my voice again because I like to talk too. So I'm gonna peace out and let us know if you need anything at all. And thank you for being here in our community.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
I made hearts again.
I can't
do that. Happy Valentine's Day. I don't know how I did it. I just like
everyone.
I like special. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have good hands.
I don't either. Sometimes they're
I'm
goes.
Heartman.
I just keep giving hearts
So
on our
jealous.
Anyway, happy Valentine. Happy Valentine's Day,
Now you're
loves.
showing off.
Yeah, now I'm like fancy pants Rich McGee over here with my hearts. I don't know. I did a thing, and then things happened. So happy Valentine's Day.
Good night, everybody.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.